Today we are honoring police officer Amy Caprio. She gave everything to protect her community, right down to her final breath. On an otherwise quiet afternoon in Perry Hall, Maryland, a 29-year-old police officer confronted a suspect in a stolen Jeep. Seconds later, that encounter turned deadly. The call was routine, the threat unexpected, and the cost immeasurable. This is not just a story of tragedy. It's a story of courage, of sacrifice, and of an officer who faced danger head-on. Police officer Amy Caprio served with the Baltimore County Police Department for nearly 4 years. Assigned to Precinct 8 in Parkville, Amy was known for her professionalism, calm demeanor, and deep compassion for the people she served. It began around 2 p.m. on May 21, 2018, on a quiet spring day. A call came in, a burglary in progress in a residential neighborhood in Perry Hall. Residents reported suspicious activity, young males entering homes, some of which were clearly not theirs. Officer Caprio responded without hesitation. By the time she arrived on scene, she had been given a description of the suspect vehicle, a black Jeep Wrangler later confirmed to be stolen. She quickly spotted the Jeep and began following it through the suburban streets of Perry Hall. The pursuit ended at the dead end of a cul-de-sac on Linwin Way. There was nowhere left for the driver to go. Officer Caprio exited her cruiser, drew her service weapon, and approached the vehicle. Body-worn camera footage would later confirm her firm, clear commands. She ordered the driver to get out. The teenage suspect opened the driver's door, then, without warning, floored the gas pedal. The Jeep lunged forward, striking Officer Caprio with full force and dragging her several feet before speeding off. A volunteer firefighter who lived nearby heard the impact and ran outside. He began performing CPR immediately and continued until medics arrived. Officer Caprio was rushed to Franklin Square Hospital, but the injuries were catastrophic. She was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. The Jeep was abandoned nearby and the suspect fled on foot. But the manhunt didn't last long. Officers quickly located the 16-year-old driver and took him into custody. Over the next several hours, investigators connected the driver to 3 other juveniles, also involved in the burglary spree that day. All 4 were arrested. All 4 would be charged as adults. Officer Amy Caprio had been the only officer killed in the line of duty in Baltimore County in more than a decade. She was just 29 years old with a bright future ahead of her and a reputation for grace under pressure. News of her death drew hundreds of mourners to the streets for her funeral procession. Officers from across the country came to stand in solidarity. The streets were lined with citizens waving blue flags, saluting, and holding signs of support. She was the first female officer killed in the line of duty in the history of the Baltimore County Police Department. The tragedy also brought questions and outrage. The suspect behind the wheel was a repeat juvenile offender out on house arrest with a known record of car theft and burglary. He had cut off his ankle monitor just before the incident. Many in the community and in law enforcement demanded reform to how violent juveniles were monitored. In May 2019, nearly a year after Amy's death, the driver was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. The 3 other teens, all charged with felony murder, accepted plea deals and received 30-year prison sentences. Amy's family, particularly her husband Tim, spoke often of the devastating loss, but also of their gratitude for the support shown. Her colleagues described her as quiet but powerful, steady, and unshakable in the face of danger. Amy Caprio was more than a uniform, more than a badge. She was a daughter, a wife, a sister, and a protector. She died doing what she loved, serving her community, standing her ground, and refusing to back down in the face of danger. We remember police officer Amy Sorrells Caprio not just for how she died, but for how she lived. May her memory be a blessing. May her name never be forgotten. If this story moved you, please consider liking this video, sharing it with others, and leaving a message of thanks in the comments. Officer Amy Caprio's story deserves to be remembered and honored.